ಅಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮ ಎಂದು ಕರೆಯುತ್ತೀಹೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ ಕರೆಯಿದೆಂದೆನದೆ ಓಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಓಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Sri Ramakrishna and the Lord Krishna, we are continuing to study the Bhagavadgita. We are almost at the end of the 6th chapter. The shloka number 24 says, Yonta sukhontara tathantar jyotireva sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutaha adhigacchati. So I tried to explain in the last class, Antasukhaha, one who finds happiness inside himself, Antararamaha, who finds rest or who finds delight in himself, Antarjyotihi, he finds the knowledge within himself. Jyoti here means the knowledge. We get the knowledge from the outside, but the man of realization finds the knowledge from within. I will also explain how knowledge is not different from the light. Knowledge is Atman. Atman is knowledge. The consciousness itself is knowledge. The light itself is knowledge. So we have a beautiful section in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Antaryami Brahmana. Jyotir Brahmana we have. Jyotir Brahmana. Jyotir Brahmana means there the Atman is referred to as the Jyoti, the light. So the Jyotirevayaha, Antasukhaha, Antararamaha, Antarjyotireva. So Sayogi, Satya Yogi, Brahma Nirvanam Adhigacchati. He will find himself in complete absorption in the Brahman or the Atman. How he will get? Brahma Bhutaha Adhigacchati. After having completely identified himself with the Brahma. There is a common saying in Vedanta, Atmavid Atmaiva Bhavati, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. So this is the meaning of the Brahma Bhutaha. You cannot attain the Brahman, you cannot absorb in the Brahman, you cannot liberate yourself in the Brahman unless you become the Brahman. So Brahma is a state where all the dualities would disappear and you will find oneness with the whole existence. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, what we read is Braham Brahmasmi. Immediately after realizing I am Brahman, one becomes everything. Aham Brahmatmi iti sarvamidam abhavat. He becomes everything. That is the state. Labhante, the second next sloka says that we have taken it for discussion today. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rushayaha Kshina Kalmashaha Chinnadvaida Yatatmanaha Sarva Bhuta Hiterataha. So the word Brahma Nirvana has been introduced in the previous sloka. The characteristics, the outer expressions of the man of Brahma Nirvana is explained in the next sloka. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rushayaha. Rushayaha Krantadarshinaha. This is the definition. Kavi is also Krantadarshi. We see only mundane word, empirical word. One who can see beyond this word is called the Rishi. Rishi, Mananashila, another name is also Mananashila. But Shankaracharya explains, Rushayaha means Sannyasinaha, one who has renounced everything, one who is established, contemplating only on Brahman or the Atman. Rushayaha Brahma Nirvanam Labhante. This is the sum and substance of the sloka. Now Rushayaha, who are those Rishis? Kshina Kalmashaha Rushayaha. They are Kshina Kalmasas. Also they are Chinna Dvaida. Yatatmanaha Sarva Bhuta Hiterataha. These are all the epithets given to Rishayaha. The first one is the Kshina Kalmashaha. Kalmasha means Raga, Dvesha, etc., which are passions in the common man that has been completely eliminated in the case of the realized soul. Such a person is Kshina Kalmashaha. Shankaracharya explains Kshina Kalmashaha as the Nirdoshaha. The Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mahda, Matsarya, the six passions are the blemishes we find in the mind. The mind is attached to the Atman, Atman identified with the mind. So he thinks he is troubled by this passion. These are these doshas. One who identified with only Atman, I am Atman, I am the spiritual consciousness, I have nothing to do with the mind, I have nothing to do with the body. And such a realization makes him Kshina Kalmashaha and Chinna Dvaidaha. All the doubts regarding the God, the existence of God, the existence of the Atman, all will be there until one realizes the God or Atman. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, all doubts disappear once you see God face to face. One has to experience God. One has to see God. Until then, the doubts remain. Chinna Dvaidaha. All the doubts are removed. Chinna Samshayaha in the words of Shankara. All the samshayas, all the doubts are removed. Yatatmanaha, it is the third one. He controls the indriyas. I also spoke about the Indriya Samyoga, Indriya Sanyama and Manas Sanyama. How Indriya Sanyama is tantamount to the control of the mind, and the control of the mind is equal to the control of the Indriyas. You cannot exclusively control the mind without controlling the Indriyas. Mind is controlled means Indriyas are controlled. How the Indriyas are controlled? In the Katha Upanishad we have a beautiful saying, Paranchikani Vetrunat Swayambhuhu Pakshat Paran Pashyati Nantaratman. The natural way The indriyas or the sense organs, what is? They are outwardly. They go towards the objects of the senses. But the one dhira, one is a wise man, he will become inward. Avrutta chakshuhu. He turns his eyes inward and he sees the Atman. He wants to seize the Atman. Avrutta chakshuhu. Why he becomes avrutta chakshuhu? Why he becomes indrawn? His eyes becomes indrawn. His eyes means here his attention. He concentrates on within himself. He becomes introvert. He becomes contemplative. How it happens? Because he wants to see Atman. He wants to realize Atman, Amrutatvam Icchan. So this is the nature of Yatatmanaha. Yata Atmanaha. Atmanaha means here Indriyas. That is how Shankaracharya explains. Atma also means the Manas. This word also can be taken to be one who is controlled the mind. As I repeatedly told you, the mind control is equal to the control of the Indriyas. The control of the Indriyas is equal to the control of the mind. Chinnadvaida yatatmanaha. And there is no work for him. Nobody can force him to work because he is beyond the boundaries of the work. Naturally, one does work out of some kind of goal to attain. He wishes some goal, he wants to attain some goal, he has a desire, so the man works for it. But he has no desire. All his desires are annihilated. All his desires are disappeared. So there is no cause for him to work at all. This is his state. Still he works. Still he does work for the welfare of all. Sarva bhuta hite tataha. Sarvesham bhutanam anukulye rataha. Always he is engaged in the welfare of the other. That means he has taken the vow of ahimsa, non-injury, always helping others, always be of usefulness to others, always doing service to others. So ahimsakaha, the word is used in the Shankara Bhashya. That means he won't injure anyone, he will engage in activities that brings welfare to the people. So these are the characteristics of the realized soul. In the 26th shloka, we have to read in detail Kama Krodha Viyuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Vidhitatmanam. So the characteristics of the realized soul is continued here also. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. He is bereft of the Kama and Krodha. Already we have read in several places in the Gita, Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. This Kama, sometimes it is called Kama, sometimes it is called Krodha. Both are one and the same. Sometimes it appears as desire. When we face the obstacles to the attainment of the objects of the desire, it transforms itself into Krodha or the anger. So there are no two passions such as Kama and Krodha. There are no two, but only one. Kama itself expresses itself is the Krodha. So Viyuktanam, one who is devoid of it, one who has get rid of it. How to get rid of the Kama and Krodha? In normal parlance, it is impossible to get rid of Kama and Krodha. Kama and Krodha has its origin in our hankering for the worldly objects. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman, the Lord says. Sankalpa, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha Sangasteshu pajayate, sangat sanjayate kamaha. So when we get interaction, when we are interacted with the objects of the senses, we repeatedly think about that object. When we repeatedly think about the object, there will be an attachment with the objects. That attachment will make us to desire for the object. The desire is born out of kama, sankalpa, resolution in the mind. I want this, I want this, I have to have this. Without that, my life will be incomplete. This kind of thinking, thinking with attachment, is what is called the sankalpa. With that sankalpa, the desire occurs. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman. So that kama will make us to hanker for the objects, and with that kama, man tries to get the objects of his desire. That is called the karma. Without kama, there will be no karma at all. Without sankalpa, there will be no kama at all. There is an invariable connection between sankalpa, kama, and the karma. This is how Shankara explains the samsara, the transmigratory existence we are in. First, the sankalpa, kama, and the karma. So when we are doing work in order to attain, in order to get the objects of the desire, we come across lot of hurdles. So when I want an ice cream, there may be several hurdles. I had to go to the place where ice cream is sold, and I may face many difficulties. But difficulties make me angry, because these difficulties are the obstacles to gaining my goal, the ice cream. So these are called obstacles. Obstacles, whenever there is obstacles, we develop what is krodha. So is there any difference between kama and krodha? Absolutely. When kama, when it is there is an obstacle to attainment of the object of desire, becomes the krodha. Such people who are engaged in kama, krodha, they are naturally after desired objects. But here, in the case of the realized soul, he is self-content in the Atman. Already I have explained in several places how one becomes Atma Kama. He will become desirous of only Atma. He doesn't need anything else. He is self-contented because he is Apta Kama. He has satisfied himself of all the kamas. In him all the kamas are satisfied. In Atman he finds the source of all the desires, because he has become akama. There is no desires left him. When you become the apta kama, you will become the akama. The state of akama, the complete desirelessness, will make you atma kama. Such a desire, such a state is explained here in the Gita. Kama krodha viyuktanam. One who is self-control, who are free from lust and the anger. The next word is yatinam. Shankaracharya explains yatinam as sannyasinam. The real sannyasa lies in renunciation. As Sri Ramakrishna repeatedly said, renunciation of lust and the gold, kamini and kanchana. We may renounce one day food or night food on Thursday or Monday. This is not renunciation at all. We still have the hankering for food, lust for the food, lust for the object of desire. And when we are able to detach ourselves completely in the mind from the objects of the desire, that is the real sannyasa. Sri Ramakrishna speaks of internal sannyasa as well as the external sannyasa. The internal sannyasa, even the householders have to practice, to be in the midst of the objects of senses at developing detachment towards them. He says, be with all your friends, your relatives, your sons, daughters, your family, but be unattached to it. That is the state of detachment. This is internal sannyasa. But the external sannyasi, he renounces the hearth and home, and he takes up the ochre club and lives a way of life completely dedicated to the God and God alone. And such a sannyasi has to renounce internally as well as externally. He cannot be attached to any objects of the senses. He cannot be attached to his family. He cannot be attached to the worldly life. So the two kinds of sannyasa Sri Ramakrishna speaks of, but he says an external sannyasi should also practice the internal sannyasa. Without internal sannyasa, there can be no real sannyasa, according to Sri Ramakrishna. The same idea is spelt out here. Yatinam means sannyasinam. So we have two characteristics here, kama krodha viyuktanam as well as yatinam. Such a person has controlled his mind, yata chetasam. In the earlier shloka we have read Chinnadvaida yatatmanaha. Yatatmanaha means control of the indriyas, control of the organ of seeing, control of the organ of hearing, control of the organ of touching, etc. The indriya nigraha cannot come without mano nigraha, because all the perceptions of the indriyas happens in the mind. When mind withdraws from the indriyas, that is called the indriya nigraha, or the state of yatatmanaha. But mind also has its own thoughts, irrespective of the impulses from outside world. Mind thinks of so many things. Sometimes mind is happy, sometimes mind is sorrowful, mind is joyful, mind is in distress, mind is angry, mind is agitated, mind is full of fear. So control these passions, or specifically is told in this term yata chetasa, sanyata antakarana, controlling the thoughts of the mind. This is the very purpose of the Patanjali Yoga, the control of the thoughts. Chitta vritti nirodha, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra says. Chitta vrittis, all kinds of thoughts. They may be good thoughts, there may be bad thoughts. There are some thoughts which give happiness to us, and there are some thoughts which give sorrow to us, which give distress to us, which brings about dukkha to us. But those thoughts which are favorable to us, brings joy to us, is called the aklishta. Those who bring about sorrow, difficulty, pain to us, it is called the klishta vritti. The goal of the yoga is to attenuate, you cannot completely destroy the thoughts. You have to reduce the intensity of thought, you have to reduce the number of thoughts, and you have to try to concentrate all the thoughts on one object. That is what is called concentration, samadhi in yoga. One who have achieved that is called here yata chetasam, kama krodha viyuktanam, yatinam yata chetasam. For him, Brahma Nirvanam. Once again this word has come. We read the word in the shloka number 25 as Brahma Nirvanam. The Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Brahma Bhutaha Adhigachati. And shloka number 25 also we have read. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rushayaha Kshina Kalmashaha, etc. Here also the same idea. Brahma Nirvanam word has come. Attainment of the beatitude in Brahman, absorption in Brahman, or in simple term, as Sri Shankaracharya says, moksha, liberation. Brahma Nirvanam vartate. For him, Brahma Nirvana is certain. Definitely he will have Brahma Nirvanam. Not only in the other world, also the passing away. In this world itself, he will have that liberation. This is the ideal of Advaita. What distinguishes Advaita Vedanta from other systems of philosophy and religion is it is possible and we must try to liberate in this life itself while living in the body. If there is no Jivan Mukti, there is no guarantee that we would attain liberation after the death. Deha Antya Mukti, that Videha Mukti, there are two types of Mukti. One is the Jivan Mukti, liberation even while living, and another kind of liberation is Videha Mukti, after the passing away, after the giving up of the body. What we attain is the liberation after the death. If we don't attain liberation even in this birth while living in this body, it is absolutely impossible for us to attain the liberation after the death. So Krishna says he is Abhitaha. Abhitaha, Shankaracharya explains as Ubhayataha, in both places, in both times, in both arenas, Jivitanam, Jivatam, Mrutanam cha. Here, while we living, he has attained the liberation. There is no need for the body. He wants to give up the body for liberation. The liberation is possible even while living in this body. Jivatam, as well as after the death, after the giving up of the body. So this is the meaning of Abhitaha. For those who are devoid of, who is free from Kama and Krodha, who is a man of renunciation and who has controlled the mind, Yata Chetasam, the Brahma Nirvana, the moksha is certain. Moksha is near at hand. It is already there. Where it is there? Jivatam Marananancha. Jivatam as well as Jivatam Mrutanamcha. Even by living and also after the death. So this is the meaning Viditatmanam. The last epithet or the characteristics of that person is Vidita Jnataha Atma Yeshamte. Here Atma means the pure, indwelling, blissful, supreme consciousness, our real nature. He has realized it. He has become Atman. He doesn't know the Atman. There is no knowing of the Atman as such as we know the part or something else. We become Atman itself. Atmavid Atmaiva Bhavati, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. So Viditatmanam. Let us recount once again the epithets described in the shloka. First one is Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Second is Yati, renunciation, one who has done renunciation. Yata Chetasam, one who has completely controlled his mind. Also Viditatmanam, one who has known the Atman. Samyak Darshinam Ityartaha, one who has realized the truth, one who has attained the highest state of Advaita. Such a person is called Viditatmanam. For him, Brahma Nirvana, the moksha, is at hand even while living in the body. Even while living in this world, one can attain the liberation. This is the meaning. Now suddenly we will turn to the next shloka, which there is a change of the subject. You know, there is a speciality in the Gita. The last few shlokas of every chapter, almost every chapter, becomes the summary of the next chapter. For example, now we have three shlokas, 27, 28 and 29. These form the summary of the entire Dhyana Yoga, the sixth chapter we are going to study in the future. So why Dhyana Yoga is introduced here? After Jnana Yoga, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, that is fifth chapter, why Dhyana Yoga is introduced here? We have all read here in this Karma Sannyasa Yoga, real sannyasa is of the detachment and desire for the worldly objects. We are not detaching ourselves from the karma at all. We are continuing to do the karma, but we have to detach from the results of the work. We have to should detach from the desires. We should not hanker for the results of our works. That is what we have read. So, what is told in the previous slokas in this verse? Shankaracharya summarizes, Samyak darshana nishtanam sannyasinam sadyo muktihi mukta. Those who are established in Brahman, they want to attain immediate mukti. Those who are sannyasin, those who are of higher caliber, sadyo mukti, immediate mukti, the direct path is told. But karma yoga is told for the common people who are unable to take up the discipline of the jnana yoga. For them, karma yoga is prescribed. What is karma yoga? Shankaracharya beautifully explains, a beautiful Sanskrit is here. Karma yogascha ईश्वरार्पिता भावेन ईश्वरे ब्रह्मणि आधाय क्रियमाणः. All the actions are surrendered to Ishvara, Paramatma. Here there is no difference is made with Saguna Brahman or the Nirguna Brahman. All the actions are dedicated to Ishvara, that is the Saguna Brahma. It is for the sake of Sattva Shuddhi, the purification of the mind. What is the result of dedicating all our karmas to the God, not attaching ourselves to the results of the world, not craving for the objects of the senses, not craving for the enjoyments of the world? What is the result? Sattva Shuddhi. Sattva Shuddhi means the purification of the mind. Through purification of mind, Shankara says Jnana Prapti. Then only one will get the Jnana. When you get the Jnana, you will abhor, or you will give up all kinds of karma except the karma which one does for the welfare of others. All kinds of karmas done with a selfish desires are given by Bhaktim. That is called sannyasa. Sarva karma sannyasa. Through that, moksha, the liberation can be attained. This is what the Bhagavan has taught us. It is the teaching of the Bhagavan in the slokas so far we have studied in this chapter. So far in this chapter we have studied this. For those who are of higher caliber, sadhyo muktihi, immediate mukti, by contemplation, by controlling the mind, controlling the indriya, withdrawing the mind completely from outside objects and concentrating mind in the Atman is what is prescribed. Those who are unable to do that, they have to do what is called karma yoga. Karma yoga is nothing but dedicating all our actions to Ishvara, and through that one will get the sattva shuddhi, purification of the mind. From purification one will attain the jnana, the natural sign, natural external expression of the jnana is giving up of all the actions that lead to desire, that is caused by desire. If there is no desire, there will be no action at all. The desires are the causes of the action. He gives up all the action that are born out of the desires because he has no desire at all. Still he continues to work for the welfare of the whole world. Sarva bhuta hite rataha, we have just heard. Such person will be liberated, as Sri Krishna says in the previous sloka, in this life. Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam. In this life as well as the outside other world. This is what Krishna instructed in this chapter so far. Now, Dhyana Yoga is going, Krishna is going to instruct us. Dhyana Yoga. What is Dhyana Yoga? Sadhana is of two types. One is external sadhana, another is internal sadhana. External sadhana is what we do outside, and internal sadhana is what we do in our mind. The external sadhana is so far is already introduced and explained, that is karma yoga, and now the internal sadhana. Karma yogasya antarika sadhanam dhyana yogam. Dhyana yogasya bahiranga sadhanam karma yoga. So we have to understand like this. Sadhana is only one. Spiritual practice is only one. So from the perspective of karma yoga, the internal sadhana is dhyana yoga, the yoga of meditation, yoga of contemplation, yoga of concentration. So from the perspective, from the side of the dhyana yoga, the external sadhana is karma yoga. That means one has to combine the yogas, two kinds of yoga, karma yoga as well as dhyana yoga. One should be meditative and contemplative. At the same time, one should work for the welfare of the whole world. One should be completely detached while he is working. While he should practice karma yoga outside, in his mind he should be completely detached and be contemplative and meditative. So this is the sum and substance of the next chapter, that is 6th chapter. So in order to introduce the subject of the next chapter, 3 shlokas are introduced here to bring about the essence of the next chapter. Sutrasthaniyan shlokan. Sutrasthaniyan, as if these are in the essence. The summary of the Dhyana Yoga is introduced here in the form of the 3 shlokas we are going to study now. The first one is how to meditate. What is called meditation? It is clearly explained in these shlokas. Sparshan krutva bahirbhashyan chakshuschayvantare bhruvoho pranapana samo krutva nasabhyantara charinaha yatendriya mano buddhihi munihi moksha parayanaha vigatecha bhayakrodaha yassada muktayeva saha. These 2 shlokas to be studied together because there is an invariable conjunction between these 2 verses. So let us take up one by one. Bahirbhashyan sparsha bahibhashyan sparshan bahihi krutva. Where are the objects of the senses? Where is sound? Sound is outside. Where is the smell? Smell is outside. Where is the form that we see through the eyes? That is outside. So all the objects of the senses are outside. So they are called the bhashyan. Bhashyan sparshan. Sparshan means the objects of the senses. What are the objects of the senses? For the eyes, rupa is the objects of the senses. For the eyes, the sound, the shabda is the objects of the senses. For the tip of the tongue, the taste, ruchi, is the rasa is the objects of the senses. So they are all outside. So bhashyan sparshan, they become internalized when we get attracted towards them. That is the epistemological idea, how we grasp the idea of the external world. So we get the idea of external world by smelling, by hearing, by touching, etc. So they are all outside. We make it internalize. We make it internalize. That is called interaction with the outside world. That is the experience of the outside world. So, if we don't allow ourselves to we don't allow the external objects of the senses to enter into our mind, that is called meditation. I am sitting for meditation. If I allow some forms, some sound, to enter into our mind, if we go on thinking about the external things, that is not called meditation. They are external. I am not going to enjoy them. I am not going to experience them. I keep the external things external only. Bhashyan bahihi krutva. This is the idea. So this is also the sum and substance of the pratyadharana or pratyahara in yoga. Pratyahara means withdrawing the mind from the outside world, outside objects. This form I am seeing outside enters my mind, make an impression in my mind, make a picture in my mind, that is called seeing. The sound that is external enters into mind through the ear and it creates an impression or the wave, thought wave in my mind. The thought wave is called vritti and that is called hearing. I won't see anything external. I won't hear anything external. I won't taste anything external. I won't engage in touching and getting the sensation of touch of any external thing and keep the external things outside only of myself. This is the meaning of the meditation. This is how we have to practice the meditation. If we sit for meditation, if we go on thinking about the external things, if we go on thinking about the external happenings, external people, if we go on enjoying the external sensations, then it is called meditation. In the three slokas, you will get the whole summary of the Dhyana Yoga. So, Bhashyan, Sparshan, the external objects of the senses, Bahihi Krutva, keeping them outside itself. Then what one has to do? So you have to stick on to the instruction given by your teacher. What Krishna is prescribing here is of general nature. Anyone can practice. It is not limited to a particular group or particular creed or particular caste. In general, every member of the human race can practice, but one has to stick to the process of meditation of the instructions of the Guru. Then one has to fix the mind between two eyebrows. Chakshushchaiva antaro bhruvoho. Where I should fix the eyesight? I should fix the eyesight between the two eyebrows. That is the point of concentration for me. So there are other methods also. I told you, it is very, very general in nature. Krishna is instructing it here. Next one. Pranapanau samau krutva nasabhyantara charinau. So how to understand this phrase? Nasau abhyantara charinau pranapanau samo krutva. Already we have learnt what is prana. That we take from inside to outside, that is called prana. that we take from outside to inside is apana. These are the two kinds of air. One is from inside to the external, that is prana. From external to the internal is apana. Both move about in the nostrils. Nasabhyantara charinam. Abhyantara means those two nostrils. So their movements happens in the nostrils. Nasabhyantara charinam. Those who are prana apana. So one which goes from internal to external, from external to internal. We have to make them steady, samau krutva, or we have to regulate them. The regulation of the exhalation and the inhalation is called the pranayama. The process of pranayama is explained by Krishna as the regulating or steadying prana and apana, which are moving in the two nostrils. One is moving from inside to outside, another is moving from outside to inside. Prana is moving from inside to outside, and apana is moving from outside to inside. So regulating them. What is called regulation? Ultimately, it reduces to stopping them. So I take my breath in, that is what I do in apana, and I stop them. That is called kumbhaka. In the yoga, if you have read Patanjali Yoga, that kind of stoppage of the breathing within or outside is called the kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is called the real pranayama. Then after some time, I take my breath from inside to outside. That is prana. There outside I stop it. That is very difficult. It is called bhashya kumbhaka. Taking breathing inside and stopping inside, it is called the antaranga kumbhaka. Bhashya antaranga kumbhaka. That is easier because you fill your lungs with the air. You can hold it for some time. But the giving away or exhaling the air completely outside and stopping there outside is bhashya kumbhaka. That is extremely difficult. First we have to regularize and make the prana and apana steady, and then we should learn kumbhaka. In essence, regulating prana and pana that are moving within the two nostrils is what is called pranayama. So pranayama is a preparatory step for the meditation. The first one is withdrawing the mind from all the external objects, or in Krishna's words, not allowing the external objects like the sound, taste, etc. They come into the mind, enter into the mind. That is called the pratyahara in yoga. Next one is the pranayama. And in between we have to fix the mind or fix our attention of sight. We have to fix the attention of our sight between the two brows. So yatendriya mano buddhihi. So one has to control both mana and the buddhi as well as indriya. So three words are given here, very important. One is indriya, another is mana, and the third one is the buddhi. Indriyas are the capturing centers of the external stimuli. So there is a center here in the eye, within the eye, that captures the outside form, outside world form, all the forms. So in Sanskrit it is called rupa. To capture the rupa, external forms, we use our eyes. To capture the sound, we use our ears, etc. So controlling them means not allowing the external stimuli, external objects like sound, sound, forms, or taste or touching sensation enter into the mind, it is called yata indriya. And next one is yata manaha. As I have already told you, already these disciplines are explained. Yata cheta saha word we have already learnt. There are lot of things which are not in the external world but deeply psychic. My own fear, my own anger, my own anxiety, all these are to be controlled. All those thoughts should be curbed. All those thoughts should be annihilated. One should be able to concentrate on the Atman or the God. That is called Yata Manaha. So we have Yata Indriya as well as Yata Manaha. Next, Yata Buddhihi. Buddhi means discrimination. So what is the difference between mind and the Indriya? We have to be very clear. Mind deliberates. These are not two compartments of the mind. People think Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chitta are all the four compartments of the mind. They are not four compartments. They are four functions of the mind. Whenever mind deliberates and thinks about pros and cons, that is called the mind. That function is called the mind. Antaranga or the internal organ is only one. When mind deliberates, that is called the mind. And when mind comes to a decision, when mind takes a decision, when mind judges, that is called the buddhi or the intellect. When mind says I, the idea of I comes up, that is called the ahankara. When mind recollects, from where it recollects, that is called the chitta. So that is how we have to understand the antaranga. So we have learnt about yata indriya and yata manaha. Yata indriya and yata manaha. Mana means the deliberating faculty, and also buddhi means discriminating faculty, the judging faculty of the internal organ. All are to be controlled. How to control the buddhi? We cannot judge wrongly with respect to what is good, what is bad, what is truth, what is non-truth. So buddhi is also called when it is refined. So when we come to make a correct judgment, it is called the viveka. So when we are not able to judge, we are called the aviveki. What is viveka in Vedanta is Brahman alone is true. Everything is unreal. So that judgment comes in our mind. If we take a particular stand with regard to our goal, then it is viveka. So viveka buddhi we call it. So this is how to control the buddhi. As I told you, not allowing the passions like anger or the anxiety, fear, etc., and trying to concentrate on the God, that is called the yata manaha. Not allowing the external stimuli to enter into our being, enter into our mind, is called indriya, yata indriya. So yatendriya mano buddhihi, this should be understood as yata indriya, yata manaha, and yata munaha. And such person becomes muni. One who contemplates is called muni. Mananat munihi or sannyasi. He is the man of real renunciation. It is not the one who always engages in some kind of inaction. He practices inaction and wears the ochre robe. In such a person is not called sannyasi. One who contemplates, still he works for the welfare of the whole world, is real sannyasi. Munihi, mananat munihi, sannyasihi. And for him, the goal is only one. What is the goal? My goal is moksha. I don't want anything else. My goal is realization of God. And Sri Ramakrishna repeatedly used to tell every human being born in this world should have one aim in their life, realization of God. We have come here in this world to realize God, not to enjoy the world. The world is only a temporary dwelling place for us. We are not going to live here forever. How many years we can live here? 90 years, 100 years. After that, we have to leave the body. So while leaving the body, we have to attain something permanent, and that is God, that is Atman, that is Brahman. So moksha eva paramam ayanam. Paramam means the supreme goal of such person is moksha and the moksha alone. Paragatihi yasya. Evam deha samstana. While leaving his body, he enjoyment of the external world, allowing the mind to wander away, thinking that enjoyment is the supreme goal of life, and such persons are called the worldly people. But this person, moksha alone is the supreme goal, and such person is called moksha parayanaha. One who is muni, he is naturally moksha parayanaha. One who is real sannyasi has only one goal, that is to realize God, and that is to attain the moksha. So we have covered 3 lines here. Let us recollect. Parshan krutva bahirbhashyan chakshuschaiva antare bhruvoho pranapana samo krutva nasabhyantara charinau yatendriya mano buddhihi munihi moksha parayanaha. So Shankara here he says, who is a muni, real renunciate, sannyasi, is always moksha parayana. I am a sannyasi, I want the pleasures of the world, and such sannyasi is not a real sannyasi at all. So some other epithets, some other qualifications of the sannyasi is told here. Vigatecha bhajakrodhaha. These are all the modes of the meditation. If you want to meditate, you have to follow this. You have to control your mind. You have to control your indriyas, the sense organs. We have to control our buddhi. We have to have only one goal, supreme goal of Atman or the Brahman or the God. This is how Krishna instructing us. And one should give up what is called bhaya and the krodha. Bhaya is a passion that takes us away from God. So every kind of passion, whether it is anxiety, stress, or the fear, or anger, or lust, takes away from our desired object, that is God, from desired goal. It makes us stray away from the path of the God. That is why we have to give it up, that we have to stray, we have to be away from that. Aspiring for liberation alone, and he should be devoid of desires, fear and anger. So 3 passions are told. One is the kama, about which we have already discussed in detail, and fear. And fear is also a passion that is born out of the kama. For we want something very urgently. We want something very immediately. It is a necessary for us, whether we get it or not, whether it happens or not, whether we are going to do it or not. That kind of fear lingers in our life. So fear is also another expression of the intense desire. And anger also we have already explained. Vigatecha bhaya krodha, divide of the icha, bhaya and krodha. Yaha, such a person is a meditative person. So if you want to meditate, give up these passions, give up your anger, Give up your fear, give up your lust, and also have one goal, one supreme goal, that is moksha and moksha alone, and control your mind, control your senses, and control your intellect, and also practice regulation of the prana and apana that are moving within the two nostrils. Prana apanam samo krutva nasabhyantara charinam. And also keep the sense objects, don't allow them to come inside the mind. Keep the outside objects outside only. Keep them away from entering to the mind. And fix the mind or fix your attention between two eyebrows. This is the method of the meditation Krishna is teaching. And yasadaha, such person is always liberated. Yasada mukta eva saha. Such a sannyasi, that's a man of renunciation. For him, he need not crave for the moksha, he is already liberated. If you control the mind, you are already liberated. If you control your senses, you are already liberated. If you control the intellect, you are already liberated. If you don't allow the sense objects to enter into your mind, you are already liberated. If you follow the instructions of meditation as Krishna has given us, you are already liberated. Such a person is already liberated. Shankaracharya says, Tatasya moksham anyaha. For him, moksha is not something different from his state. His state itself is moksha. One who has practiced that meditation, his state of mind itself is the liberated state of mind. Yaya sada vartate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. One announcement is there. Ramakrishna Mat Amarkantak is building a temple. They are building their ashrama. It is a new ashrama. So they have requested for the donations from the devotees. We have exhibited their appeal in our notice board. We are also sending the appeal and the application form in the WhatsApp today or tomorrow. Please donate magnanimously to the new mutt. It is in the birthplace of the river Narmada, Amarakantak Ramakrishna Mutt. Thank you.